Somebody once told me the world is gonna roll me. I ate the sharpest tool in the shed. She was looking kinda dumb with her finger at her thumb in the shape of an L on her forehead. Well, the years start coming and they don't stop coming. Fed to the rules and I hit the ground running. Didn't make sense, nothing lives for fun. Your brain gets smart but your head gets dumb. So much to do, so much to see. So much wrong with this in the back streets. You'll never know if you don't go. You'll never shine if you don't glow. Hey now, you're an all-star. Get your game on, go play. Hey now, you're a rock star. Get the show on, get only shooting stars break the mold.
So we're doing All-Stars, so we're back to 10 gameplay and 10 design. Yippee! The zombie's original tank, All-Star, would fire footballs at a high fire rate from his football cannon, which will overheat after a few seconds of firing, paired with his ability kit, which consists of 3 holy clutches. A. Impunt, aka child from Iraq. The All-Star shoots out his firstborn child and sacrifices it to the Lord, in which it explodes, dealing 150 damage to any plant in its radius. B. Sprint tackle, aka year ones when it's lunchtime. All-Star runs forward at extreme speeds, dealing around 60 to 70 damage depending on which sprint tackle you have to any plant in the way. C. The best ability in the game. Dummy place, dummy block, dummy die. As All-Star is an automatic character, his rate of fire being 10 shots per second and having a DPS of nearly 100 makes him a powerhouse at medium to close range. His shots travel at around 150 meters per second, which is average for the class, so leading the shot is easier. I think Reg All-Star has to be one of the strongest stock characters in the game, tied on the zombies with Footsie. His damage from all ranges is solid and threatening, while his abilities are brain dead easy to use, are really effective against most plants, and his playstyle is actually quite easy to pick up. His cannon having wind up before firing, but if you zoom in, this is ignored as the zoom in activates the wind up, letting you fire constantly at range. His only real flaw is the fact that he's quite big, and that's it. So he has nothing really to defend himself when you run out of shield dummies. But other than that, All-Star has to be one of the most unbalanced stock characters in the game, that I'm already giving this class their first S tier character. Reg All-Star can be the best tank in all of Garden Warfare 2, which is insane. Hopefully the 9 other variants are just as good. As for design, football propaganda t-shirt with the Zomboss's face on it and wearing the football helmet, which has, you know, nice little crossbone emblem on it. One little detail I've always noticed that I've never seen anyone pick up is the little bit of astroturf / grass that's just hanging off his headgear, which, you know, football, tackle on the ground, head against the ground, that shit happens. What I mostly want to talk about with these variants are the weapon models, because Jesus Christ, some of them cooked and some of them kind of didn't, but they're all pretty cool look. Like this gun looks like almost a bowling ball dispenser with rugby balls in it that just get shot up the lane right out into the pitch, which I quite like that. But other than that, the stock All-Star is very basic. I'm gonna have to give him C tier. Now for a little controversial opinion I have. I think Cricket Star is alright. He deals fire damage, so his impact damage is lower than Reg, hitting for only a max of 7 up close, with the added 5 damage over time. His shots travel slower at only 100 meters per second, being 1/3 slower than Reg's, also having identical fire rate, overheat, and overheat penalty stats to Reg All-Star. Practically just, hey bro, can I copy your homework? Yeah sure, just make it look a little bit different. This guy's projectile speed and less damage causes him to feel weaker than Reg at further distances, which would make you feel like up close he would feel a lot stronger than he does at range, but ends up just feeling weaker in both aspects. Cricket can deal enough damage to wipe almost any character before overheating. It just takes longer to actually kill them because of how low his damage is compared to Reg. Cricket gets a lot of love, sure. Every character should get some love. But when people tell me that Cricket is better than Reg All-Star, however, he still gets most jobs done, and is an All-Star variant, so he gets the abilities to save you from any problem. Cricket Star for me is not as good as Reg, not even close. However, he's still solid, so he gets a B tier. He deals consistent damage, being less than, but still viable than All-Star, with the added perk of fire damage over time, which can help secure weakened vanquishes. A nice fire character, because fire is annoying. For looks, how is this guy more boring than Reg? 2 red variants, a little sus, but it's not too bad. The headgear just being a modified version of Reg's, except his eyes are gonna get pelted. There's no proper guard there. His jersey is, yeah, it's... The weapon though, a weapon. The 2 cricket bats on the end, and the crickets being in this big vacuum, I'm guessing when they go up the tube, they heat up a lot, and having this old rotator on the back is probably what causes them to spew out at a high fire rate. So you know what? I like this weapon, so it kind of saves it. I'm gonna give Cricket Star, design-wise, I'd say C tier. Now, while Goalie Star is a hockey-themed All-Star, there's already a hockey-themed All-Star named Hockey Star, who looks kind of like a goalie for hockey, when the goalie for hockey is Goalie Star, even though that goes against the fact that Goalie Star is a hockey star, when Hockey Star is the hockey star, and that I constantly get these 2 mixed up every time I play the game, and it's either that my mind is starting to shit itself and... Goalie Star is the ice variant of the class, being that he freezes plants like any other snow or ice character. That makes him good at dealing with every type of plant, and especially good with targets or chompers, with a max of only 6 damage up close, a minimum of 3 at longer ranges. However, this guy has the 2nd highest overheat time and same projectile speed as Reg and Cricket. The ice effect makes this guy so good, as paired with his stable primary and lack of bloom or recoil, he becomes a powerhouse. The first 3 All-Stars are all sort of similar to each other, firing in very similar ways, with the same fire rate and projectile speed. Goalie Star have an advantage with the ice effect, which makes it less annoying to deal with highly mobile classes. However, the lack of long range damage at only 3 or 4 at long ranges makes him less optimal, especially when the camera shakes upon firing. It's not recoil, it's not bloom, it just shakes a lot. Goalie is a strong variant who can defend points well while being great offensively. With the added game crash ability his minigun has, he goes into A tier. All around solid for medium to close range, but starts to fall off at longer ranges. Like most All-Stars tend to do anyway, this guy is a very strong variant. Let's have a look here. Oh my god! So Jason Voorhees paid a visit. See, Goalie Star is not Hockey Star, but he is a hockey-themed All-Star. It's pretty iconic for this class all around. And the little holes is where he breathes through, not only through the nose, but it looks like he's a frown, which is funny. His jumper being more baggy, you know, to kind of compensate for how cold it would be on an ice ring, I presume, and his weapon looks like a mix between a freezer and a crossbow. Does that make sense? Think of the Apex Plasma Master Paragon. Do you know the way it's like a big crossbow? Yeah, it looks like one of them. And the cooler being on the top, probably where the ice pucks are being held. Yeah, most of these All-Star designs are pretty alright. They're pretty okay. They're not the worst. However, this guy is kind of alright. I'm gonna put him into C tier as well. Baseball Star was the level 10 unlockable All-Star in Garden Warfare 1, in which you had to complete these drastic time-consuming challenges to level up even once. In that game, I never unlocked him, so I don't know how good he was in the first Garden Warfare. But in Garden Warfare 2, he was one of my first mastered All-Stars. Now, what does this guy actually do?
What does Hawkman provide for the team?
Baseball deals less damage than the average All-Star, only being around 7 to 8 damage at max, with a boosted fire rate being a whopping 14% quicker. Heyo. Baseball's primary can only fire for a third of the time of Goalie Star's, being just under 3 seconds. His gimmick of quote-unquote fast is outshined immediately by 2 All-Stars that come up later. So what makes him actually special? Now look, I'm asking you guys, there's no rhetorical here. Baseball Star's DPS is higher than the last 2, but still lower than Reg All-Star, so his all-around effectiveness is just kind of worse. There hasn't been a time where I played this guy in the past few years, so I kind of don't have much knowledge on him outside of the recent gameplay I've just watched. If you want to play Baseball Star, golf and hockey are like right across the room, you know. Baseball Star, for me, goes into C- tier. Like, I wanted to put him into D tier, but his ability kit makes him just too good for D, so D didn't really seem right, but C tier felt a little bit too high, so I improvised and made him his own special tier where he can linger by himself. Sorry to all you baseball mains out there, you boring twats. Looking at the design of Baseball Star, it's as if you took the regular and cricket and just mashed them into one another. The design here is just kind of... The jersey is the same old. Insert red with either white or black or grey. Now the weapon, I have to say, is kind of good. I like that where the baseballs travel down and shoot out is lodged between 2 reinforced baseball bats. I kind of like that. These like vacuum tubes as well, which probably sucks them up, is kind of nice. I don't really know much about how guns work. I'm just using my own vocabulary here, so if anything I say sounds a little stupid, please correct me, but don't be mean about it. Yeah, I'm gonna give baseball vitamin D. Didn't we cover this guy already? Oh wait, no, that was Goalie Star. The goalie for the hockey game. Now we have Hockey Star, the non-hockey looking character named Hockey. I'm not gonna do this part again. Hockey Star originally used to be one of the worst characters on the zombie team, and it wasn't even close. Maybe OG Party Brains, but that's it. His primary fired a rapid fire sticky gloves, which are green, so you'd think he'd deal toxic. Fucking idiot, doesn't deal toxic damage. What are you, stupid? His fire rate is by far the highest, at 1,000 shots per minute, being 16.6 shots per second. However, his overheat time was only 2.1 seconds, which his overheat penalty was 2.6, meaning his penalty was longer than the time spent firing, making him one of the lowest time to kill characters in the game. However, in March 2018, PopCap buffed his overheat time and penalty, boosting his overheat to fire for nearly 4 seconds, with his penalty only being about 1.5 seconds, which sounds like very minor changes, but this really helped this variant shine. Mind you, his damage was still a staggering 2 at range, hitting for a maximum of 4 up close, which means his DPS wasn't too high, but his accuracy and bloom weren't nearly as bad. So his shots, also having a much higher travel speed and having barely any bullet drop, made long range encounters so much more tolerable. They luckily made Hockey Star a viable character in the end, but if you want to torture yourself, the old variant of him is still available in Garden Warfare 1. Overall, Hockey is a good character, going straight into B tier for being overall really solid, definitely one of the more fun All-Stars in the game. This headgear looks like it was taken straight out of a Roblox preset. I don't know what this is, but look, insert the sport and the equipment you use on the end of a gun. Top tier gun design. Okay, hockey sticks at the end, the big hole where you can see all the sticky gloves flying out. Why they're stinky? I get why they're stinky. The whole reason why they're stinky is because gloves are stinky when you take them off after playing hockey for like 2 hours. Oh, I feel so stupid. Oh, whatever. Look, his design, it's pretty boring. D tier. Okay, we're halfway through. This is the point where I say, you see that big red button? Fucking smash it! Smash it like your enemy's mom! And hit the like and comment as well. Hey, editing me! This is me from the past. As I finish up this little speech here, I'm going for lunch and I'll be back in a half an hour and then we're gonna record the rest of this video. Okay? Okay, bye! I'm gonna have to cut all of this out.
Now, this is comedy.
So when I said baseball wasn't the worst All-Star, but the most forgettable All-Star, it was because I forgot about Rugby. Now, Rugby isn't bad, being the second strongest damaging All-Star, however, with a much slower fire rate. But to make up for the lack of fire rate, his shots are explosive and deal splash damage, which is very slight at that, but I guess it's worth it overall. His primary having a similar overheat to current Hockey Star, being 3.5 seconds with a 2-second overheat penalty. Yeah, there isn't really much else to talk about, he's just another All-Star. I mean, being a sport that's played in Ireland a lot, you know, to me, is a plus, because, you know, I watch rugby. Also, being the last character I ever mastered in Garden Warfare 2 before hitting rank 5455, because I forgot I left him at Super Elite level 8 for a year while mastering the Chompers. Oops. He goes into C tier for me. Just his damage being stronger single target is fine, but being the second slowest firing All-Star means his DPS is severely lacking compared to the others and makes him less aggressive. He can sit on the side bench for a little bit. Design wise, one thing I like is that the edge of his cannon has a little goal that you play when you're playing rugby. However, who designed this? Design F tier. Similar to Rugby Star, we got Rey Mysterio. He fires almost identical to Rugby Star, but he has no splash damage, dealing stronger impact but with the slowest fire rate of all All-Stars. Being a more ranged variant than Rugby, his fall-off damage is wild, from a max of 16 in their face to only 6 from past 50 meters. Wrestling is often considered the worst variant. Now, personally, I can 100% see why, but I don't think he is bad as a character. He isn't terrible, but I do think he's the least good. Yep, even less good than Base Star. While wrestling Wrestling Star is stronger than other variants. His main functionality being at longer ranges is almost completely mitigated by the fall off damage, cutting his damage by 66 or 2/3 at max range. His overheat being just under 5 seconds seems nice, but due to his fire rate being very slow compared to the others, you often feel like you overheat too quickly and doesn't really feel accurate. And his penalty being 2 seconds isn't terrible, but isn't too good either. As a variant off of Rugby, having very similar rate of fire, damage and overheat. So when you're very similar to a C-tier character but less good. Look, I love Ray, okay? Never watched a single bit of wrestling in my life, but I like Ray because he shares the same name with a Fortnite skin. He goes into C tier for me, just a bit bad compared to some of the others, especially Reg, Goalie, and our next one. Before that, we gotta do the outfit. The mask is alright. The spikes on his outfit, I like that. It's changed. While he is still predominantly red and black, the gold is good for diversifying them, and his gun having spikes on it, I like this. I know this could be considered a little bit edgelordish. Like, I know some people don't really like spikes on stuff, but I kind of like it. The thing is, his projectiles are actually just marketable plushies of himself, which for a wrestling star, come on. How many times do you go into a Costco, Walmart, Tesco, and you see in like the kids aisle, I don't know, like the fucking Undertaker as a blushie or something? Come on, that's actually just a rip-off of wrestling star. And also the fact that he's got no clothes on underneath is, I want to say, armor. Overall, I actually really dig Wrestling Star's design. I'm actually going to give him B-. He gets a B- because he's special. As a character, he sucks. As a design, it's like Rock P. I have a soft spot for him. I never played this guy up until a few years ago, and that's when I discovered something. Not that Golf Star is game breaking. No. Not that he is some sort of gimmick no one knows about or any type of hidden bug to do with his primary. What I discovered is that Golf Star, to me, in both Garden Warfares, has to be one of the most fun variants in the class. Golf Star is ideally the longest ranged all-star in the game, having an increased zoom and very minimal bloom. His projectile speed being only 250 meters a second, which is much slower than Hockey. His damage being between 6 and 4, his overheat being only 4 seconds at an incredibly fast fire rate, which makes it feel like you can fire for a lot longer, as well as having a short penalty of only 1.5 seconds, makes it so you can fire again rapidly after overheat. Having a fire rate of 13 shots per second and having the best range potential makes him great on long range maps, but surprisingly really solid up close too at medium ranges. Golf Star might not be the best. He is tied for the middle realistically, but he's just so damn fun paired with Long Bomb, and you have such a stupidly non-efficient but really fun time playing this game. Such a great variant, especially the sound he makes upon firing. I know he's more of a B tier character at the best, but I'm going to put him into B+ because honestly, he's so fun to play, he gets that little plus in there. Design-wise is definitely where Golf Star lacks a bit. Similar to Hockey and Rugby Star, but a little bit better. Now, while he's not predominantly red, he's kind of half red with a bunch of white and his little checkered golf cap. It's kind of cool, I don't mind it. The only thing I don't like is whatever the hell this attire is. The little Z emblem is cool, and his gun I really like, being a golf bag with the iron wedges being this propeller that shoots the balls out. And of course, come on, golf clubs at the end of the weapon. His weapon to me is the best designed weapon. I was originally going to put this guy in D tier, but due to the weapon I'm going to put him into C tier. Good job, Golf Star, you did it. Yeah, your artillery creative skills are through the roof. Now for what everyone calls the worst all-star. Moto X, Motocross. Never really got the name, I always just called him Moto X. Moto has a unique gimmick where after enough shots, his primary covers plants in mud, making them unable to use their abilities. Now, while this sounds quite good, it is extremely situational, as it takes 1.2 seconds of consecutive shooting to oil the plants up. He has the same fire rate as Weg, Cricket and Goalie, with added projectile speed and distance. While he only hits 5 to 4 damage max on impact, he has splash and impact in 2 integers, which both contribute to his overall damage. So over time you'll see that he isn't just hitting 1 integer of damage, often seen hitting numbers up to 7 after the original shot. I don't know how it works. He hits more damage than he looks like he hits. Now his damage is a little poor, especially for a weapon that has the same fire rate as another variant that deals 10 damage. His overheat is 6.4 before overheating, which is 8 seconds with an upgrade attached, making it the longest firing weapon of all variants with only a 1.5 overheat penalty. So Moto fires so much more than every other all-star. Does this save him from being a little underpowered? Short answer, no. Long answer, Moto is weaker than most, with the uphand of longer offensive firing. Also, disabling abilities like Citron Ball, Huskop, Hyper, any mobility things are great for securing vanquishes. And fun fact, while both himself and Tennis were added to Garden Warfare 2, Tennis Star's gimmick is that he runs faster than every All-Star. While this is true for firing, as All-Star as a class becomes slower when firing, Tennis Star keeps his speed when firing, making him harder to hit. Outside of firing, Moto is actually faster than Tennis in basic running, which is a little odd, but hey, it's another pro for Moto X. I feel the same way about Moto as I do about hockey, but he gets more hate for some reason. I don't think this guy's top 5, but he isn't the worst, as his gimmick does help in some situations. Rarely, but it still helps. Gonna put Moto into B tier. He is a solid character that deserves an apology from anyone who shits on him. Now, I read a comment that said, I already know Motocross Star is going to be S tier design and F tier for character. Now, I really like this design. As simple as it is just motorbike gear, the helmet, shoulder pads, and even the gun literally being the edge of a motorbike. And the reason it shoots dirt is obviously, I'm guessing this man was fucking caught on a landslide or something, and every time he tries to rev up the engine of the motorbike, a bunch of mud and shit just comes flying out. So he improvised and used it as a weapon, because what is this mud guard doing? The helmet having the handlebars of a motorbike on it, it works, okay? It works. Having unlucky number 13 that this guy died on a motorbike. Also, he's a weapons skin called a Goon Rider, so while he is again red and white like Golf Star, but little bits of green in there as well, and you know, brown for poo, I actually really like this design. I'm gonna give this design a B tier as well. I think it's quite solid for the character theme. Honestly, the strongest design for this class as a whole.
The last one.
For our final All-Star, yeah, I already said that his gimmick is half of a lie. He does run faster when firing, but when running normally he gets outran by Moto, so he's a little bit His primary being able to fire for 4 seconds before overheating for 2, dealing between 7-4 damage on average, and being good at range as well as up close. Having a slightly better fire rate than your average All-Star, he also recently won the finals at Wimbledon. Tennis is a whatever character. I feel like they were running out of sports to make for All-Stars. I guess most of the main popular ones were taken up already, so Tennis is fine as both a sport and a character, I guess. Since his nerf a few years ago, he hasn't been anywhere near as played as he once was. I mean, I never see anyone play him in my 8 years, really, so Tennis Star goes into C tier for me. An alright end of this class, which kind of sucks, but what are you gonna do? Your profession is tennis. Who other than other tennis fans are gonna go, okay, design-wise has to be probably one of the more unique All-Stars. Not really focusing on red as much as yellow and white. Now, one thing I've noticed about all the All-Stars is that their left shoulder pad is being revealed to the world. So, I don't know, I just kind of noticed that just as I got to this last one. The hair that he has really speaks for itself. His headband, which lets us know that he's from the Netherlands, which is, you know, quite a nice detail. So his weapon having the 2 tennis rackets, again, insert every single All-Star primary ever. The end of it having this AstroTurf, almost tennis field looking, and even at the bottom you can see where the tennis balls are being kept before he fires. And while this guy is definitely more unique looking, I don't think he's as good as some people have said he is. I mean, I like that the tennis racket around his neck is probably what happened to him before, you know, he unfortunately got game ended. I'm gonna put him design wise also into C tier. He's just okay. So, All-Star is my most played zombie in Garden Warfare 1, but in Garden Warfare 2, there's now 2 tanks, with one of them being played predominantly more than All-Star. He ended up becoming one of my least played characters in the sequel. He feels more like a makeshift tank than an actual tank now, having a minigun which slows you down on firing, which can be feathered for better ranged combat. Supplying the bombing baby for easy cheap kills, as well as being as quick as A-Train and being able to split most plants in half when sprint tackling. And his best, most amazing, and totally not useless shield dummy, which is actually kind of useful at blocking beam bombs, burrows, and chuck shots. All-Star is a great class, being stronger and, let's be real, very fucking annoying at times, but that just makes him better. So for me, he goes into A tier for my class tier list altogether. Fuck it, we're doing the prickly one next.
I'm a Widowmaker ripoff.